Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Corrupted Entertainment, and this is the Joe Cronin Show on Corrupted Entertainment, and you're about to hear a free sample. Well, it's actually a whole episode number 99 of Morning Madness. It's a podcast I do that I upload for the patrons that support all the stuff we do on these channels. $5 a month gets you Morning Madness, but every once in a while we like to upload the free episode. But if you guys want to check it out, check out patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Or go to your mobile phone, download the Patreon app, and you'll get all these videos, alerts. You can download my podcasts and everything right there on Patreon. And we have over 320 patrons right now. The reason why I'm able to make these videos for you is because of the patrons. So, yeah, if you guys like this stuff, sign up, and hope you're with us every month. And enjoy the stuff. Here it is.
There's a guy on Twitter, I guess, named Joe Cronin.
And he's got a cool way of talking in the microphone. You suck Joe Cronin's dick, fucking faggot. And or some various version of that.
You're listening to The Joe Cronin Show.
Don't forget to like, comment, and body slam that subscribe button.
This is the epic voice guy, and I can honestly say, Joe Cronin is god awful, that is. You guys seriously listen to this guy? And now it's time for The Joe Cronin Show.
And he's got a cool way of talking in the microphone.
Good morning and welcome to episode number... God damn, is it hot in this room? What the fuck? It's like the other room has the AC. Maybe I'll move this... I might move all my gear back upstairs again. Welcome to episode 99 of Morning Madness. God damn it. Episode number 99. Well, yesterday I broke my fucking phone and that sucked. I dove into a pool... Hit my knee on the cement, dove into a pool full of piss, because my son apparently peed in the pool, which he had confessed to out there, but I kind of ignored it, thought he was joking, and then found out now it's not a joke, he really did piss in the pool. So I was wondering why I smelled like pee, which is like, it was a big pool, so I must have jumped in like the area he peed in, like, which is disgusting. So that's nice. I hit my knee on the cement that was underneath because we put the pool in the driveway, which is like one of the most probably dangerous things you can do. And yeah, and then I dropped my phone. I kept taking my phone in and out of my pocket because I kept thinking about diving in, and I'm like, I don't want to dive in with my phone. So I kept taking my phone out of my pocket, putting it down, out of my pocket, putting it down, and then I forgot that it was in my pocket, thinking like, oh, well, I took it out so I could dive in the pool. Dove in the pool, realized it was in my pocket. Subsequently, is that the right word? I never use that word. It never... What the fuck? Why did I use that word? That word's too big for this show. That's just too big. But yeah, no, the water never affected it. So it must be like one of those water-resistant phones. I didn't even know I had that, but I guess it is, because literally nothing went wrong. And every other phone I've ever had, if I had jumped in that pool, this phone would be fucked right now. It would be done. You're done. And, yeah, and the screen cracked, so now that sucks. I never crack my screens. I just have been really lucky. I'd never, ever have cracked my screen, I don't think. Yeah. At least my phone screens. And, you know, you always know that guy. You know what I mean? It happens to everybody eventually. There's someone, you end up being that douchebag whose phone looks like a fucking... smashed glass, but they're using it somehow. You know, when you see that guy and he's scrolling up and down, you're like, Jesus Christ, how can you see anything? Like, all the screens just smashed everywhere, and the guy's like scrolling to get everything to the bottom right corner so he can see everything. And it's like, Jesus, how do you deal with that? But it's like, what do you do? Because I mean, you know, you run out of money and you got no insurance on it or whatever. You can't buy a new one. You know, you got to ride it out until the contract's up or whatever. Usually if you, I feel like you can always get out of that though. Like, I always feel, you can always call your phone company and be like, yo, my phone's broken. Like, I want to cancel my whole thing. Like, I just want out of this thing. Put me on the phone with the manager or whatever. I'll look at the contract. I'll get my lawyer, whatever. I have no phone. This is bullshit. And, I did that with Verizon once when they said I did not have an upgrade. And they basically extended it to oh, well, now we'll give you the upgrade. And it was like, I was 8 months into my 2-year deal. And they were like, yeah, you still get a year and like 2 months or whatever it is. So you're kind of whatever. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because my phone, I spilled water in it, of course. So I dropped it in the toilet, I think it was. And I said, you know, I was like, I just want to cancel my plan. You know, I'm gonna cancel after a year, because after a year, I guess you could cancel. There's something in the clause that they couldn't, I don't know, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I know it's there, and I know I can cancel. So, or I'll just have someone else switch it out and buy you out, whatever. And I'm like, I've been here a long time, but you know, and I like you guys, but the problem is, like, what am I gonna do with no phone? You know what I mean? And I need a screen phone. I need it this way. I can't just have like a flip phone at this point. You know, if I could do that, I would, but I can't because I operate business on this thing. And I have a lot of things that I run. So I'm like, I just don't know what to do. You know what? And I need to open whatever. And they were like, okay, we'll fix it. You know, they just did it. They fixed it. And one time I even called back and got a different person and they fixed it. So, you know, I always say rule of three. If you break your phone and you have no money whatsoever to fix this thing, and it is like dire consequences, you can't, you know, I always recommend calling different customer services a little bit, you know, 3 times until you get what you want. And, yeah, you threaten them with everything, because if you don't do it, if they call your bluff and you're not going to leave them, then hey, whatever. You know what I mean? You didn't lose anything, and chances are, if you try 3 times, you know you're going to get your way somehow. I think, and if they can do it, they can do it. You know, and if they don't do it, they don't do it. But might as well give it a try. For all the money they rip you off with, it's all a big rip off. You know, it's not like you're taking advantage of somebody that isn't a suck ass. You know. It's different when you call, like, people that call little companies and like complain, and even take advantage of you know, companies that replace everything and anything. It's, I mean, obviously a lot of us do it because, you know, everybody out there is struggling, you know what I mean, and it hurts everybody. You know what I mean? When you do that, it hurts the company, and the company struggles and bad things happen to them. Who's the one that did it recently? It was, they would always replace anything, and I think they've changed that now, or they're going to be changing that, because they've lost money. They've had to lay off people. Shit, who is it? It's not Old Navy. It's, LL Bean. They're in Maine, I think, right? Either Maine or Vermont. I forget where LL Bean is, but they're a New England place. And yeah, they would just replace anything. So basically, your kid's backpack breaks, you just send it and get another one, you know? And you can live off of, I knew tons of people who worked in their customer service, and the customer service agents, I think, were really happy, because I worked at a shoe company that replaced shoes no matter what. Don't even need to send them in. Don't need to tell us nothing. If you just called, and this blows people's minds when I tell them this, and it blew my mind when I got hired that was the job. When I started working there, Troy had worked there, so for 2 years he was telling me about how all he did was replace people's shoes. They call up and they say, hey, my shoes blew out on me. It didn't matter if they were 15 years ago. We just sent them a free pair of shoes. And there was no questioning about the shoes, really. And that blew my mind. It was like, how do you even know these people are truthful? You know? And by the time I left there, 4 years later, 3 years later, whatever it was, we had people sending us pictures of the shoes, documented stuff. Beyond 5 years, we wouldn't even talk about it. So they had changed the policy completely by the time I left, because they were losing a shit ton of money. And it was like, do you realize we're sending out about 300 pairs of free shoes a day? What's 300 times 60 or 80? Because that's the average price of the shoes. You know, what's 300 times 60? Because that's how much they're losing every single day, and it was just insane. And that's what LL Bean was doing. But so the customer service agents were the happiest ever, because they don't care. You know what I mean? And they don't have to fight with anybody. Hey, my son's backpack has a rip in it. You know, okay, yeah, we'll send you another one. You know, and oh wow, thank you. You know what I mean? And then you could literally buy one backpack for your kid and then just live off several backpacks over the years going forward, which is crazy. You know, it's not right. It's great for us consumers. You know, we love it, but you know, people take such advantage of it that eventually it's going to hurt the company, even though the company had good faith intentions. I would definitely be more inclined to say, you know, maybe 3 years or something. Maybe you give things 3 years. I mean, but people can really beat stuff up over those years. You know, you don't know what happened. People, I don't know, man. You just can't do it. Unfortunately, that's what ruins it for everybody as far as customer service goes. Because what are they going to do? Go out of business? You know, I just thought it was the dumbest. I don't know. You just can't do it nowadays. You can't, because everybody's looking for a deal of anything. If they can take it, they'll take it. You know. Oh man. But anyway, Trump's we're going to space, guys. We're going to friggin' space. Trump's taking us to space, and there's an, part of me, I can't tell if he's a fucking idiot or if this, if he knows something. You know what I mean? Does he know something about aliens or things that we don't know? Has he been disclosed on? Why is he starting this branch? You know what I mean? And part of it could be because, so that we police space before someone else does, if that makes any sense. Like, you know what I mean? Somebody else thinks they're going to go up in space and shoot a laser down at us. Screw that. We're already in space. We're already ready to police that. No, this is ours right now. You want to put a satellite up there? No. I don't know, but that would get into some really dangerous and weird territory, I think. Yeah, some really bizarre territories. I don't know what to make of that. I wish it was for I don't know, man. The press conference is really funny though. Like he's like we're gonna have a 6th division of space police. Like it was just, what did he say? I forget what he said exactly. Oh, the forces. He goes, the air forces, the special forces, and now we're gonna have the space forces or something like that. It was just really funny. I mean, how could you not laugh at that? It was just hilarious. And I commented on the Raw review last night, and of course, unfortunately, people can't see past their politics and stuff. I even had a guy leave Patreon. He was like, I don't like the politics, but it's like, well, we got to joke about it. You got to be able to talk about it because it's news. It's funny. And I'm not pushing my politics on anybody because I don't really have any. You know what I mean? I don't really care. When I talk about Trump, I'm not trying to bash him. I'm trying to make jokes about him. But I'm not attacking him or I'm not supporting him, fully either. I'm not doing either one of those things. So I feel like, those people really shouldn't have been mad at me for laughing at this because it is funny. You know what I mean? I would laugh at any president that talked about it. But people are so sensitive, man. They go, oh my God. No, I don't care. I mean, it was pretty funny. I thought it was goddamn hilarious. And I got a clip of it. Hold on, let me find it.
Really have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. So important. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something so important. General Dunford,
sign me up.
If you would carry that assignment out, I would be very greatly honored also. Where's General Dunford? General? Got it? Let's go get it, General.
He's like, don't leave me out of this.
But that's the importance that we give it. We're going to have the Space Force. 1 year ago...
And that was the best way he said it. We're going to have the Space Force. He really said it like hilariously.
We're going to have the Space Force.
Oh my God, man. I love it. I like it. I think a lot of people probably have a problem with it because, there's other things that we could be doing that get really denied, and some things we go back in time with, but we're going into the future with this. It's kind of all over the place. It's like weird. Like we're mining coal. You know what I mean? Like let's look into the future, but we're mining coal. You know what I mean? And then going to space for space police. When it comes to military, it's like, yeah, let's get really innovative with that. But when it comes to innovation of people's comfort of life, or what's the lifestyle, or I don't know, it just seems that seems to get held back. I don't quite get it. And that's the whole world too. The whole world does this because we should all be running on something else at this point. Whether it's cars should be running on something different, man. That's why sometimes what's funny about like capitalism, what's funny about like free, free enterprise, or all these things you want to bring up. You know, it really helps competition. It does build competition sometimes, and you end up getting great products and great companies and great innovations and great developments. But it can also hinder things too, because, you know, why don't we just make a car that runs on water? You know, well, we can't do that because then everybody could just drive it for free. It's just like the internet, man. Think about it, right? Let's make this comparison. This is a very interesting thing. I'd love to have a talk with somebody else on this sometime. But here's the thing. Think about music, right? Let's like, it happened with music. So people say, like, why can't we have cars that run on water or vegetable oil or whatever it is? And some people do, but why don't they mass produce these things? Why can't people just, you know, whatever? Why did they take the patent from that guy who created the car that could run on water and lock it up and take his stuff away? And why do they kill people when they invent things? And why do they, all these things? Well, take a look at the music industry, right? You essentially created the development of the internet and the MP3, and you were able to make it so that we could all just download music for free. And it downgraded that all the way to how it is now, where you can just listen to anything for free on YouTube. You can go find it online anywhere. It's all free. And the music industry, for the most part, has crashed. And honestly, it didn't really hurt the big bands for the most part. It did, but it didn't, you know, they can still survive. Like, people that are hyped and on huge record labels still, you know, they can make money off brand deals and commercials. But we really killed the indie scene, or the mid-card scene, if you want to say it that way, of music. Because it basically became anybody can just download a song for free. So there's no more need to go out to buy a CD from a record store. There's no need to buy a record, a cassette, or a CD, or anything. There's no need to even have to pay to download it, because you can just download it for free. It's been that way forever. Torrents were huge in the, you know, and life finds a way, right? The music industry has adjusted with things like Spotify and iTunes and, you know, things like that, but not really, because a lot of people just listen on YouTube or download it on YouTube, or, you know, if you pay $9.99 a month for Spotify, and you listen to a bunch of different bands, you know, they get about a 1 cent. So, you know, you had a band that used to make maybe like, you know, $3 to $2 to $1 a sale on a CD. You know, every time someone bought a CD, they maybe made $2 or $3. And now, you know, they get a cent, maybe a cent on Spotify, or a cent on 30 cents on iTunes. Just terrible. And, you know, you've killed that industry by natural innovation, right? Like, we made the internet better. We created something amazing. But in doing that, we killed the music industry for many bands. We killed people's hopes and dreams in bands. Just like if you made cars run on water, you would kill a lot of the audio industry and the way things run right now. But what would happen is it would adjust, and it would come back in a different way. You'd have guys probably creating cars with built-in things that no other cars have, right? You would sell the car not based off of much else but, you know, these things that are inside the car. And what it would really do is it would kill the fuel companies, right? So like ExxonMobil and the gas companies and the Sun, those companies would pretty much go out of business. Just like thousands and thousands of labels went out of business. So you know, you can't have progress without knocking down some of the standard, some of the things that we've come to know and love, and really hurting something. And it's a dangerous thing, because I am scared. I would be scared for the people that would lose their jobs throughout the world if that happened with cars. So, and the way it happened with the music industry was like overnight, guys. It was like overnight. 1999, by 98, 99, 2000. By 2001, the music industry was just screwed. By 2001, tons of labels going out of business, and certainly by 2003, they were really screwed. So, you know, it's a shock factor for the system, right? It's a shock factor for the music industry, and it would be a shock factor for the oil companies and the gas companies and things like that. They would probably have to up their prices to the people that needed oil. It would triple or something, or, you know, who knows what it would do. But in the long run, we would innovate, and we would not only, you know, I don't know what they would do. And if it ran on water, then people would be demanding more water. You know, we'd have to create more water. You know, the real key would be to make a car run on just solar power electronics, I would believe. But eventually, all resources run out, so it's good to move on to a new one. You know, I don't think we could all be running on water because, like we said, you know, you'd be in trouble. I mean, you could have a car runs on dual, water and sunlight, right? So literally on the back of the car, it just collects water. Like, so if it rains out, it collects the water and fills up that fuel tank in the water tank. And maybe it recycles the water really well until it evaporates out and it needs to be refilled. And then if that's not working, it switches over to its more solar-powered side where it stores in a battery. You know, it's just, there's so many things you could do, right? Or there could be an engine that powers itself. You know, it's very similar to an alternator, how an alternator powers itself when, you know, powers the battery and charges itself over. We could have a really advanced version of that powers cars. But yeah, so, you know, I would say that is the best example, is the music industry, of how, even though you created something amazing, like anybody can just download audio anywhere, and we can do this thing on the internet. The internet killed, you know, and you know, I'm sure at some point someone thought, like, you know, internet could be controlled, right? Like, don't make it free, it could be controlled, right? Like, so you'd have to go to, like, your public library to use the internet, right? That's how, you know, I'm sure that some people would have liked it to go, where you have to buy time to use the internet and the government controls the websites and everything. So you can't even go on and download music, you know? That would have saved the music industry, right? Because you can go on the internet, you can watch some things, you can do some things, but not really, because the government limits your internet, which they could now, because based on all the laws, now they could do that. That's kind of what they do in some other countries. You know, but, and in doing that, music sales would still be okay, but probably, if you didn't have a Spotify and other things like that. But, you know, so that's the problem, you know, you really sacrifice something to innovate or to change or to have progress and to move forward with crazy technologies. Sometimes it hurts the old ones, and that's hard because there's real people that have jobs at those companies and those gas stations and everything, and all those gas stations were to go, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't know what would happen. It could be really scary, but I know that the right way to do it is to hopefully try to transition it over the course of 10 years and not instantly just have everything change, which is what happened with the music industry, which is why you just saw record labels collapsing. And, you know, nowadays, now 2018's here, even though, you know, there's no record labels for smaller bands, really, you know, for the most part. There's distributors and there's promotions peoples, but for the most part, you know, a band can just release music and try to get it out there on the internet now. They can use the internet to market themselves. So while the internet was their enemy and took away their album sales and took away all that, while the internet was their enemy, now it's their ally in the way that they don't need a record label. They can be their own record label. They can distribute the music how they want, and they can do things like, you know, sign a CD, sign a T-shirt, and do a package. Like, hey, our new CD's coming out, $5 or $10, you know, extra, and we'll send you a signed T-shirt, you know, something like that. And bands are able to fund their music that way. And not only that, crowdfunding has come around. So now, I mean, it's too bad that fans have to do this, but I think people do. I think people like doing this. They're an investor in the band. Like, that's how, and people accept that now. It's the craziest thing. Think about it. It's wild that back then, you know, bands were, you know, would just get to a record label, they'd make a little bit of money, and they'd be able to have a career. And now, and then the internet ruined everything for them, but now the internet is helping them. So, in many ways. So they put the video up for free on YouTube. Some people even put the whole album up for free. And if they get enough traction with, you know, they get 30 to 80,000 followers and subbers or subscribers or whatever, you know, they can do a tour. They can do a small tour around the country and, you know, have between 15 to 150 people at a show. And it all came from the internet. And then they can sell special edition boxes and stuff like that. And if they sell a couple hundred of those, you know, they do a good profit. And then they have a fundraiser maybe for their online crowdfunding for their CD, and maybe the fans fund the CD. And it's pretty amazing. So while at one point it seemed desperate and there was nothing that a band could do, now they're so empowered it's crazy. So in a way things are better, I think, but different. you know, and they don't have to give all their money away to the record labels anymore. So in a weird way, things may have gotten better, in a strange way. I mean, it's too bad that you lose out if you're a fan that doesn't buy the physical copies, because you can still buy the physical copies, and that's the best for the band. They make the most money that way. You know, they if you can still do that, that's great, because having a physical copy of the artwork and the creation, it's such a different thing, because it all connects yourself. If you're into the art, that's what you want to buy. You're a hardcore fan. But I get that there's a lot of people out there that they don't want to do that. They don't want to deal with that. They just want to listen to the music. Give me the digital song and maybe the album cover. I see it, whatever. I don't care. Just give me the music. I love the whole presentation. I love the artwork. I love the CD. I love that whole feeling. So if I love something, I buy the CD. You know. But I also like that we all have more choice than ever too. Hey, listen, if I like a couple songs on your rap CD, but everything else is stupid, I like that I can download the song or whatever, pay for the song, and then have it. Or that I can just go on Spotify and just listen to it. But if I become a real big fan of yours and I like the whole CD, not only will I listen on Spotify, I will purchase the CD, and I may even thinking about doing some kind of crowdfunding. If you're saying, well, hey, we need to raise $50,000, or maybe not $50,000, we need to raise $10,000 to record our CD. I would throw $20, depending on how much I like the band. If I had more money and how my financial situation was, here's $2, here's $1, here's $5, here's something to help you, because I appreciate what you do. I want you to do another one. And maybe I won't love the next thing you do, but I'll still be there because you gave me that first thing. And it's similar to what we're doing right now on Patreon. You guys are funding this show. People must think that they like the show enough, they want me to keep doing this, so they're gonna give money a month so that I can keep doing the YouTube show. And not only that, you're getting something bonus. So it's pretty cool. It's a crazy thing what can happen and what happens in this world now, as far as for artists out there. If you want to call a band an artist, if you want to call a podcaster an artist, I think what we do here is art in many ways. That's entertainment and art, and yeah, and that's really amazing to me. I may not be on the radio, radio disc jockeys right now are making almost no money, traveling around, horrible thing. It's always been that way, but it's really bad now. Now it's really, really bad. Unless you're a major guy, And hey, give me the chance on the radio. I think I'd spike the ratings crazy, and I would destroy, perhaps. Maybe I'd be fired by the time, I don't know, maybe I'd be fired too with the way things are. But, I'm not able to do that. Well, guess what? I'm able to use the internet and do it. And so the internet gives back again. And then we're all able to connect the way we are. Adpocalypse happens on YouTube where they take away our revenue and there's no more ads the same way there were. We were making $100. I was making $100 a day in ads for about 2 months straight, and it had been going up 80, 90, 100. And then they had the adpocalypse right around that time, and then I went down to making $4 or $5 a day. And then I said to people, hey, guess what? If you guys don't help, there won't be a show, and that's just the fact. And if nobody helped, the show would have been over. So it's crazy, man, what we can do now, and that's what's happened with music. But there's so many bands, there's so many people being able to create that it's so oversaturated too, because anybody who has any kind of talent whatsoever has probably put it up on YouTube or put it up somewhere. So there's an oversaturation of things too. Things are always moving and changing and adjusting, and it's just always happening. And it just always will happen. Just like this morning, I cut my penis off just to see what would happen. No, I'm just kidding. And that's it, man. That's about it. SpaceX. Not SpaceX, but Space Forces, man. I'm ready. That rapper that got killed, man, that was stupid. I don't know, man. I don't know enough. I'll probably talk about it on Thursday Night Throwdown or on Corrupted, over on the Corrupted YouTube channel. And yeah, that's about it, man. I hope you guys have a good day. This was episode number 99. We got to do something special for 100 tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow, yeah. So we'll, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll have people on. I don't know. Do a live episode on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know why I do it live on YouTube, though, because it's a Patreon show. But, maybe we'll do it live on Patreon. That might be something. Do a live video on Patreon and a hangout, and then also record it as a podcast and upload it the right way we always do, but also be live. I think I'll do that. I think that sounds to me like the best idea. But, yeah. that's it. What do you guys think about all that stuff? I think I went pretty deep into all that and all that stuff. But yeah, man, hope you guys have a good day. Leave it down below. Thanks for being $5 patrons. I got a new show coming back again. Me and Jesse started it, but there should be a new one this week. Couple new ones. Couple interviews coming as well this week, hopefully. And that will be both in the $5 tier, the $2 tier, and me and Jesse will be in the $10 tier for the $10 patrons who are looking for those shows. See you tomorrow for episode 100.
And he's got a cool way of talking in the microphone.